¿Cómo están? Today's lesson is on los artículos en español. What is an artículo? Artículos, or articles in English, include words like un, una, a in English, and el, la, the in English. Articles describe and define nouns, so they are sometimes considered a type of adjective. Reminder, adjectives are words that describe and define nouns. Articles sometimes act this way, so they are oftentimes considered a type of adjective. Articles express a few things, including number, whether a noun is definite, that means specific, the book, not just any book, the book, a specific certain book, or indefinite, general, a book. Doesn't have to be the book. It could be any book. It could be that book over there, any book, a book. It's just general. And in Spanish, articles also indicate the gender of the object they describe. And this is one of the big differences between articles in English and in Spanish. Another one is going to be number. Articles in English and Spanish behave more or less in the same way, but there are some very big differences. And we're going to see those next. So, los artículos en español. We're going to use this chart to discuss and present the articles in Spanish. We're dividing them using three different properties. Number, so singular, singulares, plural, plurales. This is in the plural form because we're talking about artículos, which is a plural word, so the adjective is plural. Femeninos, masculinos, feminine, masculine. So this is the category gender. And indefinite, definite. So again, general and specific. Una is singular, feminine, indefinite. It means a in English. Una is the word for a feminine singular object, and it is indefinite. Una mesa, a table. Unas means some. It's plural, feminine, and indefinite. Unas mesas, some tables. Notice how unas mesas both end in as. This is not always the case, but it is very common to see that. And it should give you an indication that you're using the words correctly. Unas mesas, una mesa. It would sound weird if you said una mesas or unas mesa. That would sound odd. So, una mesa, they rhyme, sounds good. Unas mesas, they rhyme, sounds good. That's a general guideline. It's not 100% true all the time though, so don't follow it as a rule, but it should be a good indicator. La is singular, feminine, and definite. It means the for a singular, feminine, definite object. La mesa, the table. And we have the plural version, las mesas, the tables. Notice how the word in English, it's the same word for both. In Spanish, it's different. La mesa, las mesas. For the masculine articles, un is the masculine version of una. It means a. Un libro. Unos is the masculine version of unas. Means some. Unos libros, some books. El is the masculine version of la. El libro, the book. And los is the masculine version of las. Los libros, the books. All right? Good. Let's move on. Now we have some examples. Ejemplos means examples. Yo tengo una mesa. I have a table. Yo tengo unas mesas. I have some tables. Yo tengo un libro. I have a book. Yo tengo unos libros. I have some books. Notice a few things here. English has less words, less variety of words. They have a for both of these, whereas in Spanish you have una and un, because this one's feminine, this one's masculine. Here you have the word some for both in English, but in Spanish you have unas and you have unos, again matching the gender. Unas mesas, unos libros. Yo tengo la mesa, I have the table. Yo tengo las mesas, I have the tables. Yo tengo el libro, I have the book. Yo tengo los libros, I have the books. The variety is even less here in English. The for all four, but four different words to match the number, singular, plural, and the gender, feminine, masculine. La, las, el, los. All right? Now, something that I want to point out. All of these sentences begin with yo. And the word tengo, which comes from tener, which means to have, is conjugated to match yo. Here's the thing. I put yo there to help you guys make that connection between these two, but you don't really have to say yo. Tengo on its own already means I have. So you could just say tengo una mesa, tengo unas mesas, tengo un libro, tengo unos libros. You don't have to say yo tengo. When you say yo tengo, it's emphatic, it's redundant. You could say it sometimes, but you don't really have to. So keep that in mind. Moving on, we have ejemplos with the word estar. I introduced this as a separate example because here the word estar is going to also change depending on what we're describing. In the first set of examples, the verb connects with yo, which is the person who has the table. The article here is modifying table, but tengo is modifying yo, or it's pairing with yo. In these examples, the verb is modifying or pairing with the object that the article is also modifying or defining. So keep that in mind. And that's why I made these a little different. And also because the word estar is a word that we're working on right now. So I wanted you all to pay attention to that. Allí está una mesa. There is a table there. Okay. This is going to be a little confusing, but bear with me. Why did I translate it this way? I could have just said a table is there or there is a table. But I translated it this way to reduce ambiguity or reduce the possibility of misunderstanding what I said. If I say there is a table, that could mean there is a table there, right? That could also mean there is a table here, or it could just mean there is a table somewhere in the universe. In the universe, there exists a table. I wanted to make sure that I kept the meaning 100%. So this translation really means that there is a table there. And that I felt was the best way to say it. Now, it's confusing because when you say, when you use an indefinite article with a noun, to say that something is there, you say there is. There is a table, there is a book, there is a school, right? That's how we say it in English. There is. And that's why it sounds a little confusing because you have basically the same word twice being used slightly differently. So just keep in mind that this looks a little confusing, but basically it just means there is a table. Where is the table? There. There is a table there, over there, okay? Allí está una mesa. All right? There is from está. There comes from allí. Okay? Allí están unas mesas. There are some tables there. Notice están. This looks different from está. Why? Because this changed the number. Está una mesa. There is a table. Están unas mesas. There are some tables. So the conjugation is different because this is plural. So this verb has to be in the plural form. This is singular. Right here, this word, una mesa, is singular. So the verb has to be in the singular form. And you see that in English too. Are versus is. There are some tables there. Allí están unas mesas. Allí está un libro. There is a book there. Allí están unos libros. There are some books there. All right. So this is for the indefinite. So again, the general articles. Now the definite articles. Allí está la mesa. The table is there. Notice that the there is phrasing is gone. That's because the reason I would explain it, or the way that I would explain it, is that the table, because it's definite, that means we know in our conversation, when I say the table, we know which table we're talking about. So we know that it exists. We know that it is there. So we don't have to say there is the table is there. That sounds weird and wouldn't make much sense. We know there is a table. We know it exists. We're just trying to indicate where it is. So we don't have to say there is a book. All right? When it's indefinite, you use this phraseology. There is a, with the definite articles though, the table, if we're talking about a specific table, we know it's there. So we just say the table. And that's why this translation is a little different. Allí está la mesa. The table is there. Allí están las mesas. The tables are there. Allí está el libro. The book is there. Allí están los libros. All right. Moving on. Are there any questions? If you have any questions, please email me. Correo electrónico. You can send it through mail that is electronic mail, email, or send your questions using Google Classroom. And finally, quiz. So I did not post this quiz on Google Classroom because I needed you all to watch this to the very end to get to the quiz. I know, that's how I am. So these are the 7 questions that I need you to answer in the assignment tab for this quiz. So this has been the first video on articles, los artículos en español. There will be a follow-up shortly, but I want to see that you all understand this subject as it is first. And do expect a quiz or test on this subject in the near future. Make sure you all start paying attention to this concept when we're working in our other assignments. I want to see proper use of the articles in Spanish. Make sure you all start connecting the dots and using it appropriately. I want to see evidence that when you are writing, you are keeping in mind that the articles have to be correct and they have to match the nouns that they're affecting. All right? So show me that. You all have this. You're awesome, amazing, muy bien, excelente. Muchas gracias, mis alumnos. I'll see you later.